Good afternoon on what is a grey, overcast and slightly chilly day. It is Tuesday, the 1st of March. Back in Nook with cat who's not ours and a nice hot cup of tea. And past us box. So let's take a look at this one. See how this goes. So it's a bit odd because they've taped over the tag you would normally pull. So, oh, there he goes, off it goes. He's not going to hang around for very long because I have heard there is promise of lunch for him in a bit. So I'm sort of like wondering how to get into this. There we go. Try not to slice my fingers off. That's taking a bit longer than I anticipated. Sorry about that. Give us the knife. And what have we got in here? Well, it's wrapped in bubble wrap. And let's see. I can see something in there, but I don't know what it is yet. But it is securely packaged. So pulling this out. It is. Still can't see what it is. Oh, okay, hold on. Well, there's the spine, there's the extra thing, and then there's that. Oh, it's moving that. Okay. Put that in the camera. Death in Space manual. Okay. It's a fantastic cover. I do like that. Just take the shine off it. I'll just take the plastic off so I can have a proper look inside. Okay. So it's trying to break the seal on the plastic, and then I get my fingers in, and it'll come apart a whole lot easier. See, just taking a bit extra. There we go. So what we have got is Death in Space. Everything's off. The plastic is off. So So what we've got is Death in Space with this fantastic cloth-bound cover. I mean, there has been a tendency in the hobby a bit to go towards cloth-bound covers, and they really do feel good in the hand. Then we have that here. Okay, so essentially this is beginning to look like this layout of the table is very reminiscent of Mortwage, the death metal post-apocalyptic, pre-apocalyptic role-playing game. And this is put out by Free League Publishing and the Stockholm Kartell. So it's on the same group, and it is very, very dark. Essentially, it's definitely here in the blackness of space. The vast blackness, a collapsing universe. The vast blackness of space is collapsing in a slow grind towards eternal nothingness. Heralding the collapse is the void, a strange presence that infects and corrupts. So say the navies, workers who travel further into uncharted space than anyone else, as they return with stories from faraway systems. Some navies claim to have seen strange creatures out there, behemoths drifting from the edge of the cosmos, seeking shelter in the civilized systems. Scientists, of course, reject such claims, calling them tales and nightmares. Yet even among them, there are some who assert the universe has stopped expanding. Instead, they say it is now compressing at an accelerating rate towards the inevitable crushing crunch. So that's the setting for the base setting for Death in Space. The explanation there goes in a bit more detail with the various aspects of the setting, such as including the gem wall, the decay of the central wall, a static permanent all electronics, and reputation is the new law. So just negotiating around his tail. He's still not given his lunch. If he wanted it, it's probably why he's being so insistent. And what we've got around, we've got basically the central sister setting is the Iron Ring, and its massive ring-like structure assembled from thousands of old spacecraft and refining modules surrounding the moon Inaro like a belt of metal. The ring is divided into irregular-sized sections made up of everything from several small connected ships to a single large mining carrier. Lots of sectors are inhabited, derelict, cold and dark. That's your tail cat. And also my knee. The other connection here, of course, to to Mort Borsch is this star one. That kind of symbol, that inverted sort of cross-like symbol, so we get into character creation here, and we have things like by standard abilities and origins like carbon or chrome, punk, solipod, long-lived, and so on. Velocity cursed. These essentially are your backgrounds and give you a special advantage. Character details as things like moon outlaw, monolith cultist, or station marshal, asteroid archaeologist. I do like that one. Traits and drives and so on. And you've got personalities there. And then character details, so you're getting your looks, past allegiances, and hit points and defense rating are all defined very quickly, very lightly. Really no more than what you need, and here we've got like an illustration of what the character types are. Starting gear, of course, so saving item slots, you've got starting kits and personal trinkets. So it is kind of modelled on the same kind of structure that came kind of sort of like as Mort Borsch, but it's different. And then we get into creating the setting, which is the hub. It's the starting point for your campaign, where your player character will start. Again, accompanied by these fantastic illustrations. And then your hub background for your spacecraft, whether it's your hub background, whether it's a spacecraft or a station. Simple tables, you can just roll up details there, and then give it a hub quirk. So again, fantastic black and white artwork. It's less, in some ways, impressive than Mort Borsch, which has a very well-defined aesthetic, but here it's much darker, much starker, I think. So we're getting to the rules. Again, it's going to be a space D20 system, so on, and we've got void points here. For each failed ability check or attack roll, a player gains a void point. They can now have at most 4 points. They can be used to gain advantage on an ability or activate a cosmic mutation. Basically, mutations represent physical manifestations of the void for the player character. So a player character might start off with a mutation or character advancement, or when the void is let loose. And here it's essentially when you lose control and let the void surge through your body, you might suffer from void corruption. If a void point is spent to gain advantage in the roll fails, and you get another roll to see what you basically to see the effect. So you can suffer void corruption. Void corruption on tables of cosmic mutations, which can come out of that. And here rules for patching things up, because obviously you live in a great hub of the basic structure of device. Then we go off-world. Basically, some of the technical details here, obviously, for handling things like extravehicular excursions, space travel, combat. Again, it just burst by. It's just great artwork, and combat and even got a table for death in space. Specifically, you know, sort of like in a role-playing game, you have a table called Death in Space. You have a Death in Space table, and then spacecraft confrontations. Should it come to that, always a sort of like the most complex sort of like part of any sort of science fiction role-playing game. And that's of course got its own spacecraft disasters table, but it's only a few pages. I mean, spacecraft confrontations, 1, 2, 3, and 4 pages with the rules for the table for spacecraft disasters. So it's keeping it simple. And then rules for advancement, should your player characters ever survive long enough. And then extras, we have basically we're beginning to explore sort of like the tenets of the setting, such as you know, nothing is new, communication, war is still present, distant stations are silent, travel takes time, who wants to live forever, and so on. There's basically advice for the referee. We've got a complete setting in the Tenebris system, including, like, here's the nice bit of system cartography, and there we go. There's the classic illustration of a star system done in the classic style. Mining outpost. Looks very looks like almost like a cross between an interstellar space station and the Nostromo. Just more background details there, and then of course, because it is almost the end times, we have cults involved. And actually getting onto the great ring of Enorus ring itself around the moon of Enorus, and basically this is getting the characters involved. You know, they get the docking, encountering an old friend, pulling them into the adventure and the setting. And, different areas to explore, and again, there's certainly something haunting about this artwork, which seems to loom out at you at every turn. The engine room. I've actually got a map here, or deck plans of parts of the ship. Computer centre, and so on. So this is sort of like stepping into sort of like similar territory to well, basically Mothership, the sci-fi horror role-playing game. But I think it is different in tone and so on. And here we have more tables, so creatures of the abyss. And you see it's interesting here how they're cutting the text at the top and bottom off here, but you can still read it. I think it's an interesting design choice. Then we have Corrupted by the Void. Again, different encounters to throw at your players. And just lots of different tables here just to support the player. Triggers, obstacles. I mean, the white on black may not be the easiest thing to read. Space encounters, but it gives it a definite look and style. And I wouldn't want to print this out, of course. Even more space encounters. Iron ring locations. So you've basically got the giant iron ring as sort of like an area to explore and plunder and salvage and learn secrets. Again, that's quite a lengthy table there. Each one of these locations is essentially a spur for the GM to create content of her own. Addictive substances, since characters and NPCs will want something to get away from the stress of living in the end times, and we have the Epoch Spacecraft. Again, great industrial, very sort of like blue collar sci-fi feel to this. And more tables to help you create this spacecraft. Things like, you know, general modules. non-player hubs, the crews, weapons and armour, and an actual illustration of those weapons there. Basically, that's nicely done. Look pretty similar to a lot of other weapons you're going to see in a science fiction role-playing game, but you know, there are still general principles without getting too weird. And then contracts, essentially missions for the player characters to undertake and earn their keep. So yep, and then lastly a cheat sheet. So yeah, that's Death in Space from let's have a look. The Stockholm Kartell, and published via the Free League Workshop. Should be able to track down a copy of that. That looks interesting as an alternative to, or basically essentially a science fiction role-playing game in the tone of Mort Borge. At the end, basically at the end time as the universe is collapsing. So what else have we got in here? Well, let's have a look. I'm gonna. We have also that. And that, and this poster map, which I'll do a quick show out. Sort of like, so here we go. There's that. So you've got basically that map of the system. You've got a complete. You've got it there, display for your players to examine in more detail, and then we have that and that, and I'll cover these in a bit more detail another time. Anyway, in the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, then please do click on the like button down below. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a parcel and a book or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. And sometimes a cat who's not ours, then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.